It started in Spanish. A scrappy, bilingual show about a family chasing down cars in California's San Fernando Valley. Nobody predicted it would run for 11 seasons, build a passionate following across 2 languages, and end the way most great things end, quietly, with most people not realizing it was over. But what happened to this crew after the camera stopped rolling is a story that goes in directions nobody expected. And some of it is genuinely hard to hear. Before the English-speaking world ever heard of Operation Repo, it existed as Operation Repo on Telemundo, premiering in October of 2006. The concept was simple. Follow a family of real repossession workers in the San Fernando Valley as they took back vehicles from people who had stopped making payments. The crew was led by Luis Lou Pizarro, a man with over a decade of real experience in the business. They were competing for airtime against telenovelas and soccer broadcasts. And for a while, they were actually winning that competition. True TV noticed. An English-language version premiered on March 31, 2008, and from that point forward, the show ran for 286 episodes before wrapping on February 5, 2014. But here's the thing most fans never fully absorbed. There was a disclaimer at the start of every episode, quietly noting that names and details had been changed. What it was really telling you was that the confrontations had been shaped for television. The repossessions were real. The drama around them was built for the screen. When that became widely understood, it split the audience. Some felt deceived. Others shrugged and pointed out that every show in this genre works the same way. Real repossession professionals tended to dislike it. Some of what was shown on screen would have been illegal in actual practice. But the people watching for entertainment largely got exactly what they came for. The show ended on its own terms, with Lou staging a fake heart attack as the finale's central dramatic moment. Classic Operation Repo, right to the last frame. What it left behind was real, though. A bilingual fan base that had genuinely connected with these people. A family that had built something unusual together. And a set of individual stories that, in the years since the finale, went in directions ranging from genuinely impressive to genuinely heartbreaking. The most important of those stories belongs to Sonia. And to understand what her death meant to people who watched the show, you first need to understand who she actually was. Sonia Pizarro was Lou's sister. And despite the show centering its marketing around her brother for years, Sonia became the personality that the whole thing eventually built itself around. She had something genuinely rare in television. She was exactly who she appeared to be, and audiences could feel that. She wasn't performing likability. She wasn't trying to be anyone's favorite. She was direct to the point of making people uncomfortable, physically capable in ways that surprised anyone who made assumptions about her, and completely unbothered by what anyone thought of either of those qualities. She said in interviews that she wasn't there for a personality contest. She was there to do a job, and she was good at it, and those were the only facts that interested her. What that looked like on screen was someone who could hold a confrontational situation with calm while everything around her was escalating, stepping forward when others stepped back, and then capable of real warmth in the quieter moments between the chaos. She wasn't one-dimensional. That's what kept people watching her across 8 years of television. In May of 2018, she suffered a stroke. She survived it, but it affected her in ways that people close to her have acknowledged without sharing specific details. She stayed publicly present after the stroke, connecting with fans, maintaining her presence in the community that had grown up around the show. And then, on May 3, 2023, Sonia Pizarro died in her sleep. She was 60 years old. The fan response was immediate and genuinely moving. Social media filled with people sharing specific memories, episodes they'd watched with family, moments that had stayed with them for years. That kind of outpouring only happens when someone has truly connected with an audience, not just been visible to them. Her husband stepped back from social media to grieve privately, which was the right and human response to losing a partner. He later returned and has continued working in entertainment, but the loss was real, and it changed what any future version of this show could ever look like. But Sonia was not the only member of this cast that the audience lost. And the second loss, the one that came first, in 2018, hit differently in a way that stayed quiet in ways it shouldn't have. Carlos Lopez joined the show as what the production framed as a new hire. His actual background was in acting, and his credits placed him far beyond the world of reality television. He'd served 3 years in the military before transitioning into the industry. His work included Captain America, The Winter Soldier, iCarly, CSI, Cyber, and American Made. Those are not minor credits. That's a level of success most working actors never reach. On the show, He was treated more as a performer than a core crew member, which was accurate to how the production was built. He wasn't part of the original family unit at the center of it. But he had presence on screen, and people responded to him. From the outside, his career was moving forward. His credits were accumulating. His opportunities were expanding. And then, in 2018, Carlos Lopez died by suicide. He was 35 years old. The gap between what his professional life looked like from the outside and what he was carrying privately is the kind of gap that tends to go unrecognized until it is too late. The Operation Repo community mourned him. The broader entertainment press gave the story limited coverage. He deserves to be remembered as someone who built a real career through real effort, who served his country, then pivoted to something entirely different, and became part of something people still watch and remember. That's who he was. Between Carlos in 2018 and Sonia in 2023, the cast of Operation Repo had lost 2 of its members before any serious conversation about a reunion could happen. Those 2 losses are the central fact about where this show now stands. But there are cast members who are still here, still working, and their paths after the show ended are genuinely worth knowing about. Lou Pissarro had been in the repossession business for over 13 years before the show existed. The show grew out of his actual work, not the other way around. After the finale, he went through a dramatic physical transformation, losing over 100 pounds following gastric sleeve surgery. The change was significant enough that when he stopped a real crime near his home in 2014, the responding officers didn't recognize him. The person they knew from television was no longer visible in how he looked. He's continued working in entertainment since then, moving increasingly behind the camera. He's worked as a writer and director, including on a project called Psychic Visions released in 2023. It's the natural evolution of someone who built a television show from the ground up and understands how all of it works from every angle. Linda Pissarro, Sonia's niece, had been part of the production since its original Telemundo run, one of the longest tenured cast members in terms of sheer time with the show. She operated at a slightly different level than the repossession crew, present and genuine without being in the middle of the physical confrontations. After the show, she also went through a significant physical transformation, sharing a fitness journey with followers on social media. She's maintained her presence in the entertainment space, still listed as an actress and model, still connected to a community that remembers her. Matt Birch had the kind of physical presence that made confrontational repossession work look manageable, extensively tattooed, large, and visually unmistakable. His background was in professional wrestling before injury ended that career. After the show, he transitioned into a commissioner and enforcer role with Vendetta Pro Wrestling, staying connected to the world of physical performance and crowd-facing drama. His subsequent acting credits reflect a man who is entirely comfortable with the more absurd dimensions of the entertainment business, and apparently willing to publicize the fact. Froey Gutierrez, who had been Sonia's ex-husband during the show's run, brought a background to Operation Repo that almost nobody would have predicted. Before joining the repossession crew, he'd worked as a Hollywood makeup artist. His most significant credit in that field was A Beautiful Mind from 2001, a film that won multiple Academy Awards. The jump from creating film makeup to chasing cars on a reality show is an unusual path, but the entertainment industry is full of unusual paths. Ronnie Ron Tyrone Lee had come to acting after a football injury ended his career in the Arena League. His time on Operation Repo was brief but served as a launching point for additional work. Like several of his former castmates, he treated the show as a beginning rather than a destination. What connects all of these people, across trajectories that look nothing alike, is that the show clearly meant something to them beyond a paycheck. When cast members have talked about Operation Repo in interviews or on social media, the affection is genuine, not the careful corporate warmth of someone contractual obligated to be positive, but the real attachment that comes from building something with other people over a significant stretch of time. The show can still be watched. Most episodes are on YouTube. Pluto TV and the Roku channel carry the full series. 4 new viewers finding it now, and for longtime fans coming back to it, the experience is inevitably shaped by knowing what happened to these people after the camera stopped. Sonia appears in every episode. That is both the gift of it and the weight of it. She had a platform for 8 years to show exactly who she was, and people still feel her absence 2 years after she's gone. What does it say about a reality show when the most real thing about it, the most irreplaceable thing, turns out to be a person?